this, completely a trial-based video. Just gonna see how it looks over there. Oh, that's actually fucking hilarious. So you guys can't really see where I just put you guys in the pocket, but on that side. And because it's in this pocket that's kind of recessed, you know, it's, oh, you guys can't even see it because my fucking water jug's in the way. This is like recessed here, like it supports it, so I can like kind of slam on my brakes if I wanted. And you guys would still be able to, the camera wouldn't fall. But yeah, so we are headed to the gym. It's about 7 minutes away, the gym I'm going to today. Today's gonna be, so it's a unique workout today. Today's gonna be delts and triceps. So the reason that that's unique is because right now I'm doing a push-pull. You guys can't necessarily see me. Maybe I can slide up a little more towards this. Kind of feels weird, but whatever. Normally I do push-pull legs, rest. You know, the reason I do it that way is because I'm able to basically hit every muscle group twice a week, but from a variability perspective, I'm not hitting, you know, as Rich Piano would say, shock the muscle. I'm not hitting the same muscle group twice, week after week on the same day, if that makes sense. So like, for example, Mondays, people say International Chest Day. I think it's just fucking stupid, but whatever. Like, I would never, like, because it's push-pull leg rest, it'll be like Monday's push, Tuesday's pull, Wednesday's legs, Thursday's rest, Friday's push, Saturday pull, Sunday's legs, Monday's now a rest day, Tuesday's push, so you get what I'm saying? So basically, every 8th week, it will restart the cycle. So if I hit chest on a Monday, I won't hit chest again on a Monday for 8 weeks. Oh shit. I forgot about the, oh damn. Forgot about the ability, let's see if I can correct this really quick. Nice. But I forgot, anyways, it doesn't matter. So yeah, so for the most part though, I'm gonna be able to train every muscle group, and I have been training every muscle group twice a week, but I won't basically hit, if I hit, let's say push day as a Monday, I won't hit another push day on a Monday for 8 more weeks. So really cool. But the reason that today is just delts and triceps, and I mean, delts and triceps is amazing. But last push day, so what, 4 days ago, or no, 3 days ago when I had my last push day, I didn't stretch. I always stretch to do mobility at the beginning of my lifts, and for whatever reason, on incline bench, I did some incline barbell. So I typically break it down. I like to do my pressing movements in the beginning of the lift, right, to get those heavy compounds out of the way, because we all know that you're never going to be more fresh than you are on the first set of your first working set of your first exercise. So in this case, for me, it was incline barbell. I don't do any flat work at all or any decline work at all. Well, for the mere fact of I don't have an underdeveloped lower chest. But you know, I think training, anyways. So about my first working set in, my shoulder had a little bit of like an uncomfortability, but not like bad. Just I kind of recognized it. It should have been my responsibility as a lifter to then maybe go stretch it, warm it up a little bit more. You know, not that crazy of a thought, but I didn't, and I kept going, and it just kind of pinched. So by that 4th or 5th working set, you know, I followed the general guidelines of trying to stay between like 8 and 12 working sets per muscle group. I would say if you're a newer lifter, 8 to 10 is pretty good. If you're a more experienced lifter such as myself, I've been training for a little over a decade, I would probably say 10 to 12, and I'm natural. About 10 to 12 sets, so maybe 11 is a median. If you're a beginner lifter, maybe 9 sets per muscle group. If you're more advanced, maybe 11 sets. So anyways, that last working set, I'm like, you know what? This is unfortunately going to be my last chest exercise for today. I was partially pumped, but definitely nowhere near where I should have been for, you know, given the intensity of the lift. So I just went on and just completely shredded and basically, I guess you could say, demolished my deltoids and my triceps. You know, it was great you know, I walked out relatively pumped. You know, my arms were really pumped, but my shoulders, my left shoulder, because I had that issue, I really just fucking slammed out a whole bunch of side raises, some lateral raises with the dumbbell. I'm not sure if you guys heard that or not. It was weird. It sounded like somebody threw a cup of sand at my window. But, so I guess that's just kind of how I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so did that. And then, so then the next day after that was pull day and then leg day. Yesterday was supposed to be a rest day, but I didn't want to rest because who likes a rest day? You know, I think, you know, one of my more, I guess you could say, favorite philosophies when it comes to lifting. Oh, shit. There you go, you bounce you guys right back. Is like, life will give you rest days, you know? You don't, and I get it to an extent, like, yeah, your body sometimes needs a rest, but you're not going to overtrain by just working out every day. You know, now if your muscles are sore and then you're still training them and you're not exercising, you're not resting properly, you're not getting enough sleep, you're not drinking enough water, your diet is shit, yeah, okay, you're probably going to overtrain and have maybe less than optimal gains. But for the most part, overtraining is kind of a fallacy in my opinion. So, let's see if I can park next to this guy. He kind of fucked me over. I'm going to park in this corner over here. I'm parking in front of the furniture, the mattress store, actually. I don't really care. But, and I know you guys can't really hear me that well. Primarily because I'm just using my phone's audio and the mic's like in that recessed area. I do have my Rode mic coming in the next couple of days. It should be here Monday or Tuesday, I think. I overnighted it, or I Amazon Prime the fuck out of it. But nonetheless, yesterday was supposed to be a rest day. What I ended up doing was, I said, you know what, I'm going to go in today and only hit chest. So I did 11 sets of flies yesterday. Basically, I did 5 sets of cable crossovers on the machine. So it's plate loaded, or machine loaded, I mean, with the cable. And I did the crossovers, meaning that my hands act, so doing cable here independently, they physically cross over to get that insane squeeze of the pecs. So I'll usually filter, or not filter, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll usually, whatever the word is, I'll alternate. I'll squeeze, and then I finish off with 6 sets of pec deck, and my chest is sore. So I got a great pump. When I walked out of that gym, I mean, when I went to check the pump afterwards, looked in the mirror, I didn't even have to take my shirt off. That's how good the pump was. I knew I could just see that my shirt had gotten significantly tighter from when I walked in until when I walked out. So the chest was pumped, super sore, especially towards the tie-in of my shoulder here, where you're gonna really get that squeeze. So it was kind of nice for variability purposes. So then today would be my push day. Even though I did chest yesterday, it was a chest only day, which is very abnormal for me. Today, we're gonna do just delts and triceps. So I'll probably do, you know, once I warm up, you know, I usually let the gym kind of show me what I'm gonna do, depending on the crowd, you know, how I'm feeling once I get in there. Maybe I see a machine I haven't seen in a while that, you know, sparks maybe some happy memories of some fonder times. But for the most part, I'm gonna go in there and just really focus on getting the shoulders warmed up, especially my rotator cuffs. I think that your shoulder mobility and your back mobility are 2 real important things. Yeah, so let's just go get this lift started. I'm gonna do definitely a lot of lateral raises. I'll probably do 5 or 6 sets with the dumbbells, and then probably to get my 11th, you know, I'll probably do 4 or 5 sets with a cable, and then, I mean, that'll be delts, right? And then I'll switch over to triceps. We'll probably do, you know, maybe 2 or 3 sets of some dumbbell overhead extensions. And then, of course, no better movement for the tricep than what I think to be straight bar push downs. I don't use the V-bar. I really don't even like the rope. Not that it puts too much pressure on your wrist, but, you know, to activate and get that squeeze at the bottom, you kind of have to, I don't know, it just takes my focus off the triceps. So I really like that cable because you can load that thing up, pretty much use the whole fucking stack and just get as many reps as possible. So yeah, let's go get this lift started. A little side note as I'm walking into the gym, That beta-alanine takes a little bit to kick in and get those tingles. So once I slam the pre, I just wait in the car until my arms start tingling, and then I'm ready to go in. back over there. Post lift now, as you can probably tell, much sweatier. Keep in mind, this is not an optimal angle that you guys are at. Oh, my biceps aren't even pumped. It's my shoulders. I'm having a hard time grabbing that seatbelt. Oh, man. You know, after an arm day, putting your hands up here on the fucking steering wheel is even challenging. But all right, let's get into that lift. So I don't have any post-workout shakes right now. So I have nothing to really, I use the Stanley Cup. These are legendary 40 ounces. So as long as I'm getting 3 of these in a day, you know, that's a sufficient amount of water. If I get 3 a day, that's a gallon, you know? So should we just take the hat off entirely? It's not that type of day. I don't get my haircut till Monday. Anyway, so that lift. So that was a interesting lift. It was short, you know. Let's see, it's 4:40 right now, 4:35. What time did I get here? That was probably, you know, that was, I would say, an hour, maybe a little bit less than an hour lift. You know, it doesn't really take that long to hit your your fucking delts and triceps. It's not a, you know, I'm not doing a lot of pressing movements. I mean, I don't do any pressing at all for my shoulders. Like occasionally, maybe every other month, so a handful of times a year, 5-6 times a year, I'll do some standing overhead press with a barbell, just to make sure that I still got the strength, and I do. But I know that's going to dwindle away as this cut, you know, deepens. Oh man, I'm getting lucky with all these cars. As the cut deepens, I do have a shoulder problem. I was in a bad car accident, so if you guys see me doing this shit all the time, my shoulder hasn't been right in a while. But you know, it's neither here nor there. So let's think. I started off with 4 sets of the cable, and I showed you guys the video. 4 sets of the cable lateral raises. And if you notice, if I didn't do the voiceover, because I thought about doing that in there, but if I can figure out how to do it in a relatively reasonable amount of time, I'll do it. If not, I'm just gonna put some music over that part of the lift. And keep in mind, the audio and the angles will significantly or even drastically improve, you know, from a viewer's perspective, when I get my tripod or my phone stand. It's like a retractable one that you see probably anybody at your gym who's recorded themselves has it. And then I got the Rode mic that you can clip on your shirt, you can clip on your hat. Some people clip it on the chain around their neck. If you watch any YouTube or any TikTok fitness people, everybody has the little Rode mic. It's a little square one that clips on. Just increases the quality of the audio, because it's with me, so I can be like across the street and you would think that you're right next to me. So that'll improve, but I just didn't want to keep waiting. There's no reason to wait until I have all the equipment. You know, there's no reason to wait until I'm shredded and lean. I wanted to capitalize on something different. You know, I don't really know any, you know, I don't use the word famous, but I don't really know any like bigger fitness influencers currently that were just like bulked up, like natural people just bulked up, just on the heavier side. Because I'm 6'1", about 238 right now, morning weight, and I'm down about 20 pounds. You know, I was a lot heavier towards the end of last year. But I hired a nutritionist, and I'll be starting a 5-week program with him. I know a lot about diet and nutrition and food and supplements and the way the body works on a very, very deep level. Like I said, my first bodybuilding competition I did, not that means I know everything or I know a lot. You know, there's people out there don't know shit. You know, I know people in almost every industry, whether it's barbers. You know, the excuse of saying like, I do this for a living, I don't buy that, because I know barbers who do it for a living that continuously fuck up haircuts. I know mechanics that are mechanics for a living, and they're not that good of quality, and their attention to detail lacks, and they fuck up cars all the time. I know construction people, you know, contractors who do it for a living, and they're making mistakes all the time. You know, we know bodybuilders. Oh, there you guys go again. I'm trying to get that downward angle. Let's see if I can get you back. Oh, damn it, I almost failed. You know, I try to avoid the bumpy roads, but you know, I know bodybuilders who do it for a living, but they don't really have that much knowledge. They just follow a code. So it doesn't really, just because you do something for a living doesn't by any means give you a title of expert or, you know, renowned knowledge professor. Like, it just doesn't. And there's a lot of things that I've done for a living that I was very, very infant with my knowledge on. So Luckily, the gym isn't one of those areas. As you can tell, I'm not fucking shredded right now. I'm not bulging veins out of my forearms yet. I hopefully put some pictures either in the beginning or I'll put them in at the end, or I'll try to put them in now, of me when I was lean. So you can see my fucking abs, you can see my obliques, my fucking Christmas tree. You can see that when I get lean, I get fucking nasty. But I haven't done a cut in, man, probably 4 or 5 years. I haven't been necessarily bulking for 4 or 5 years, but I've been like basically just bulked up for a couple years, and then I just maintained it. I've still been hitting the gym consistently, so there's a lot of muscle to unpack under here. I got big fucking hands. I can't even wrap that thing around like a python. But yeah, I'm like 6'1", 238 in the morning, so I'm curious to see and document, like I was saying in the beginning. I don't really know any fitness people that are just natural, that are in my position where I got a lot of experience and strength under my belt, but I don't really know what lean looks like for me right now. Like, and I don't mean competition lean, like sub 4% body fat. I mean just like a healthy, like, I want to get pretty shredded, like, you know, pretty close. Like, man, he might want to start stepping on stage here soon. Maintain that for a little bit, and then I'll kind of come up a little bit to a healthier lean, and then where I still got some pretty good veins and some, you know, my vascularity's on point, and I got some striations in the shoulders, and maybe even some in the teardrop of my quad. And then I'm maybe an outline of a Christmas tree on my lower back, right? Because you think your back muscle, your traps are not just here. Your traps start up in your neck and they go all the way down, basically to the middle of your spine, way down by your posterior. But your traps are like a big triangle on your body. And then your traps are a big triangle on your body. They basically start at the top of your neck, go out to your shoulder blades, and then back down to like your middle center spine. And then on top of that, you also, like, it's like beneath that, basically, you have your rhomboids. It's like a stretched flab of muscle. And then obviously on the outer portion, that V taper is your lats. So if you're and then I guess, you know, your rear delts, they're on your back, but they're part of your shoulders. But in a back shot, you know, a rear lat spread or a rear double by, you know, you're going to see those rear delts in there. So when it comes to the back, you know, and you got your hamstrings and your calves, but when you're in a more bulk state like myself, that the definition isn't necessarily, you can see the size. Yeah, it's a big guy. I can tell he lifts. He's strong, but the muscle development, it's like a mirage almost, in the sense of when you look at somebody who's cut, they're physically smaller than they were when they were bulked, even though they now look bigger, right? So if let's say I'm 240, let's just say I'm 238, let's say I'm 240 and I cut down to 220, or even, you know, 215, depending on how lean I want to get. When I cut down to 220, even though I've lost 20 pounds of body fat, and I'm physically smaller and I weigh less and I take up, you know, less surface area, less volume. Oh shit. When I get my stand, I'll try to put you guys over here. There we go. But so even though I'll turn the air conditioning down, I watched some of those clips and the air conditioning was kind of annoying. So I just corrected that issue, I hope. But the Rode mic should also eliminate that problem entirely for those out there with audible issues, or maybe some sensitory, what are those called? Whatever. But yeah, so anyways, 20 pounds lighter, even though I'm physically smaller and take up less space, I'm gonna appear bigger because of the cuts, the striations, and now you can see the beautiful, deep muscle bellies that have been covered up by typically layers of fat. Now, you know, I think it's going to be interesting to watch and document my cut, especially natural, at least as of now. You know, I don't have any plans on doing steroids or anything. I don't really think that steroids are necessary, like gear, TRT, any sort of like anabolic or, you know, D-ball, or even maybe test even. Like, I don't really think anything, unless you're trying to get to the competitive level leanness. Oh, sorry guys. Unless you're trying to get to that competitive level leanness, or you're actually trying to compete on a high level, you know, I just don't see being able to justify, in my personal opinion, getting on anything, you know. I like being natural. You know, I've maintained my physique and my strength really well. You know, in the periods of time, I was in the military for about 5 years, even though I wasn't focused on weight training per se. Try to get up here a little more. Even though I wasn't focused on weight training per se, I was still able to like hold my muscle, my strength. You know, I kind of lost some of that. You know, when you're increasing the intensity, I lost some of that. endurance, I guess, for lack of better terms, or what would be the right word. But for the most part, I think it'll be cool to document this. And I'm really just doing it for myself, you know, because, you know, like I said, I'm obviously a rather big dude, you know, take up a good amount of space in my car, and I'm looking to see basically that kind of go backwards. Once I start to see the forearm veins come back, and I get some veins in my quads, and I even get some in my shoulders when I get real lean, you know, I think that'll be maybe satisfactory. But it's really a journey for me, and hopefully for those of you out there, to maybe bring one person to the gym, or get one person back into the gym, or encourage one person to change their life. You know, my life outside of the gym, I had a couple of businesses. I sold one of them a couple of years ago. And I got one now that's rather, growing and really big. So I have a lot more free time than I used to. So I really want to focus, and I have been for, the last couple of years, but I really want to focus on getting lean again. And just seeing what it looks like when I'm that cut, These angles are so bad. Like, I promise you, I'm not this fat piece of shit that it's coming off to be, I got some freaking good forearms. It's hard to see because I'm fucking pumped right now. I mean, my pump today was insane. To elaborate on what a pump is, I know that's a lot of people don't like when I use that term because it's an older school term. That's like the golden era, like Arnold always talked about the pump. So I'll use a product as an example. If you guys heard of, in a really common pre-workout is arginine, beta-alanine, caffeine, but then a really good one is called citrulline malate, or L-citrulline malate. And all it does is it increases, it widens rather your blood vessels. So let's think about this, right? Here's a straw. If I'm drinking out of my water, even though it's empty, I can get water at a pretty decent rate. But imagine imagine I take the straw and put a hose in there. I'm going to get water at a significantly faster rate than I would just using a straw. That's kind of like your blood vessels when you take citrulline malate. And again, these angles are bad. It makes my arm look so small, but these are fucking, and I don't know what they are, cold or, me and my brother, when we did Bigger by the Day, 7 or 8 years ago, I think our arms got into I don't even know. And somewhere between maybe the 15 to 17 inch range, pumped. I don't really know what that looks like to me anymore. I'm nowhere near, where I could be. But anyways, that's basically what citrulline malate does. So when you think, okay, well, what does that have to do with the pump? The more blood flowing into the muscle, the more nutrients, the more blood, the more fucking oxygen, the more, when you take creatine, it drives water into the muscles. You get this super, super tight squeezing sensation. The muscles just fold and jam-packed of blood. So when you're doing the eccentric portion of your movement, let's just use biceps as an example, on the way down, when that arm's coming down, you're tearing those muscle fibers apart. And then when you come back up on the concentric portion of the movement, the contracting portion of the movement, you're putting all that nutrients back in the muscle. And then when you recover, of course, as long as you're eating in a calorie surplus, not a deficit or a maintenance, and you're getting adequate water intake, those muscle tissue will heal that, and then your muscles will get bigger and stronger, usually via progressive overload, increasing the weight, or hypertrophy, which is increasing the volume and reps. Now you can get all this static and hyper, that just do heavy weight and do as many times as you can. But typically as you start to walk out the gym, you really feel that pump because all that blood just rushing back into your muscle, and you can getting to squeeze your triceps. So that's kind of what I felt like today. But I'm going to cut this off here. My first video, just wanted to kind of let you guys know a little bit about what we're going to do. And then hopefully anybody wants to follow along and watch me get lean. And we're going to have some, when I get my new, my stand and my road mic, we're going to start really getting good angles and push raw some heavy weight. We're going to get on that incline. We're going to try to throw around 250 to 275 for a couple reps. I don't really do many deadlifts. I just think it's a stupid movement. I look at a risk to reward ratio. The risk of getting injured is astronomical for a relatively small reward, because unless you're focused on, explosive training and sports athleticism, I just don't see power cleans and deadlifts and those sorts of movements to be massively beneficial when you're trying to just pack on muscle. And of course, for power and strength, maybe for that explosive power, by all means, maybe I'll do deadlifts a couple times a year. But since I've gotten significantly bigger and stronger, I think a lot of that has been due to isolating the muscle groups, right? If I'm working back, I don't want to do deadlifts because I don't want my hamstrings and my glutes and my fucking traps getting engaged. And there's something to be said about like maybe doing rack pulls instead. You know, you're getting that upper portion of the movement instead of that first 25% of the lift. 30% of the lift is all fucking back and legs. And of course you can do wide sumo squats, but then again, you're going to be engaging the glutes. So there's some movements that I don't do that I may just do on camera just to show you guys, you know, where the strength's at and kind of how that may diminish. We're going to try to keep our protein high to keep as much strength as we can into this cut. But I do have a nutritionist that I hired. So when I get back home to Ohio, I'm in Florida right now, as you can probably tell by the rain. I'll start that program, which would be pretty cool. So I get my blood work done, and then we'll go into that and see, like, you know, how that's going to look. So I'm taking this really seriously. But yeah, we're going to cut it off here. I got the, I'm not sure if you guys, what kind of videos you guys watch. One of my bigger inspirations is like Christian Guzman. Been watching him. I met Guzman. I met Max Tuning. I met Rich Piana. I met, you know, all those dudes in the 2012 Arnold Classic. I went there with my brother when I was like a freshman in high school. Like, none of my friends were going at the time. Nobody was really into lifting yet. And the only reason I was because my brother, you know, wanted me to start working out. So like I would go to this local gym with him like once a month, and I would be like, you know, 13 trying to do fucking tricep push downs with a rope. And like, you just can't compete with anybody at that age. So luckily I, you know, developed some serious mass and strength since then. I mean, you got to think, my first bodybuilding competition was October 2013. It was the Monster Mash Classic in Cincinnati, Ohio. I was only 15 when I did that competition, and like the next youngest person was 23, so there was an 8-year gap. I placed like 6th or 7th, which was obviously not that good, but for there being like 40 people there, you know, it was decent. And I was on stage at that time at 172. Now I'm 238, so that's what, you know, fucking 60, 70 pounds heavier. So I'm excited to see where I'm going to get down to, how lean I'm going to get, and I'm excited to track the progress. I, of course, want people to watch and get inspired and teach, but I'm really just excited to track the progress and, you know, be able to watch myself get leaner and leaner and my shirts get fucking bigger and bigger over the next coming few months. So I'm going to go into Home Depot right now. I got some shit to get for some, you know, for some stuff. And then, yeah, today was shoulders and triceps. Tomorrow's back. Actually, tomorrow's a pull day, so we're going to do, you know, pulling muscles. So we're going to do, you know, back, biceps, and then, of course, rear delts. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.